Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Those are new to my channel, my name is Shruti. A lot of you guys have requested me to do this video on a step-by-step makeup tutorial where I share the products which I've used and also how to use it. A lot of people who are not into makeup but they do want to learn about it, how to do it. So it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's just more about practice. The more practice you do it, the more comfortable you get. So I'm gonna be sharing a little bit of tips and tricks if you want to see how I got this look. So please keep watching. First things guys, before you start your makeup, you need to make sure your skin is very well hydrated, because if the skin is dry, the makeup is not gonna sit properly, it's gonna look cakey. So whatever you use, anything, if you're going out, make sure you're using sunscreen or any kind of like serum or anything you follow for your everyday routine. So make sure you're doing that. And then the second step is to use the primer. So primer is very important, and because it acts as a barrier between the skin and the makeup. So I'm taking this much primer, and I'm not like rubbing in the primer, but I'm like gently just pressing it in. Primer is very important because it smooths the skin, minimizes the pores, and it gives like even application to the makeup, and also the makeup lasts long. So make sure you prime your face before you do anything. First, I'm gonna do my brows. So for the brows, I'm gonna be using this kind of brush, which one side is like this, where you can like brush your hair just to make sure it's not clumpy or anything. And one side is the angled side. And I'm using my brow powder. This is from Anastasia, and this is in shade Granite. One is lighter, the other one is darker. So the only reason why they give lighter and darker shade in this is because generally if you see our eyebrows here in front are lighter and here it's dark. Taking the lighter shade first, and I'm like making a line over here, just very lightly. And I'm gonna kind of like line it, create the strokes. It totally depends on you guys. If you guys want a dramatic look, so you can fill your brows with a darker shade. But since it's a beginner's makeup tutorial, I want to show you guys like how you can achieve that perfect brows and a little bit natural looking at the beginning, because if you guys are scared to do experiments at the very start. So this is let's take it slow. Since my eyebrows are thin, I just like to with gentle strokes. And now I'm taking the darker shade and I do like my brows to have an angle, so if you want, you can just line it right here and then start filling it up. If you think you have a good shape already, and if you don't want to do any kind of dramatic look, so you can just follow it and just fill the sparse areas. So that is how you check if your brows are proportionate, like right here and here. And you can just brush it again. I'm using this Juvia's Place foundation. So you can use either this one, this is a very full coverage, or you can use any different kinds, which I can also recommend. I do like Bare Minerals, which has like a very natural finish. I do like Lancome, but with this kind of foundation, a little goes a long way. So see this? Only taking this much. So this is from Anissa. You can use any kind of like round shape brush, which is good and dense, because foundation we need to like just do this. So I'm gonna take a little bit at a time. You don't want to just put it. I'm not like doing like this, but I'm gently. Take your time guys, this needs time, just because you don't want to create some like cakey looking makeup. So make sure you're blending it well. That is the key to the makeup. Make sure the foundation matches your skin. Either you're a pink undertone or olive. So normally like medium skin tones, they're most of the time it's olive or yellow undertone. So play with the colors and make sure when you're doing this, it should like melt in and with your neck. So I'm just gonna take it all the way on over my eyes just to make sure there are like no darkness around. You can use the beauty blender. This is like my favorite thing ever, like a favorite tool for makeup. This gives a flawless application. There are a lot of other sponges available in the market, but I think Beauty Blender, this is of 20 bucks. This gives a flawless finish. So normally after when I'm done with the foundation and when I have to use the concealer, I'll go over that. So now I'm gonna take this Naked Color Corrector. So reason for this corrector is if you have any kind of darkness, so depending on how much dark circles you have or any kind of blemishes or any kind of pigmentation if you want hide. So if it's really dark, you need to stick with something like very orangey or very peachy. But since right now we have covered with the foundation, so I'm gonna stick with this kind of very light peach. If you see this is a nice light peach color. So I'm just gonna cover it just under the eyes or anywhere if I see any darkness. And now with my Beauty Blender, I'm just gonna blend it. So guys, with the Beauty Blender, one thing is there, you need to dampen that. And one more trick which I really like is after you dampen it, squeeze the water out of it and just take the paper towel and squeeze the rest of the water. Otherwise, if you're gonna use it as is, the makeup just separates and it looks really bad. And then just blend it well. Now I'm taking my Armani concealer. It's in shade 6.5. So reason I'm taking this concealer, since this is not very thick, there are other concealers available too. There's a Shape Tape from Tarte. It's a very Born This Way from very good coverage, but they're pretty thick. So if you are new to the makeup, so you might want to start it slow just because you don't get overwhelmed by it and you know you just mess up the whole makeup. So this concealer is pretty lightweight and it gives a pretty good amount of coverage. So this go with this, guys. This is really nice. And also I do like one from the Rare Beauty. Take here and just you want to use the concealer on the areas you want to highlight. I would suggest going like 2 shades lighter than your foundation, or if you are a beginner, maybe like a 1 shade lighter. So, and just on the tip here on the high points, because we want to highlight. Take your time, guys, to blend it. You don't want to rush, but trust me, like once you get the hang of it, you're not gonna take as much time, I promise. Now I am using my Ben Nye powder. This is in shade Banana. If you see this. And there are a lot of other powders like Laura Mercier translucent powder, which is very popular if you're looking for nothing crazy, and it is a good setting powder. It doesn't clog the pore. I do like this Ben Nye powder, like it's my absolute favorite. And the reason for the setting powder is it keeps your makeup in place, and also it's very important you set the concealer with the powder. If you don't, your concealer is gonna move and just like, you know, it's gonna come off. You can take this kind of puff. I like this because it is angle puff. This is from Tati, but you can also get it in Amazon, a little ones, which is kind of angle, and this is pretty good. I love it. I'm just gonna take it and just gently like place it. It's very important to set the concealer and your makeup. It gives kind of like a smooth finish to the makeup and it's gonna stay longer. Just a little here. My contour, I'm gonna be taking my LA Girl contour. If you're not comfortable in the beginning, you can skip the contour and just use the bronzer, but I just still want to give option to people who want to try doing the contouring. This is a stick, so I'm just gonna place it directly here. It's not a very dark contour, but it's pretty good. Either you can do like this, and you want to make sure you're doing it here in the jawline, just because it's gonna give that definition of a chiseled jaw. Because wherever there is dark areas, starts to look slimmer. So, and depending on how big or small your forehead is, I just want to like kind of like give an even application. So I'm just doing a little bit here. My forehead is not too big. If you have a big forehead, you want to like do more of the contouring just to make sure it looks a little bit smaller. Contouring nose can be a little tricky if you're not used to, so the best way is to use any kind of this kind of angled brush, like a tiny one, not too big, and a little bit at a time, just take it and just start working. If you see that, so just the closer the lines are together, this the nose will look slimmer. So I'm taking all the way here, so it gives the illusion of a slimmer nose. Like just blend in here. You can use your fingers if you're comfortable with that. At times I do this if I'm in a rush, so no harm in doing that. I'm gonna blend my contour using this kind of flat brush. You want to take this kind of brush so that it's easy to go into the hollows of the cheeks, and you just start to like blend in. You can do it like stipple, or you can do it in circular motion. Don't do like this. Make sure you're blending in here, and if you see the cheeks here, it started to give that definition to the cheeks. For the bronzer, I'm using this Kylie bronzer. You might want to stick to these kind of warm tones, or maybe like 2 or 3 shades darker for your bronzing if you're not comfortable using like a very like dramatic bronzer. So with this kind of, prefer this kind of brush, or maybe you can use something a little bigger brush. Just gonna dip it a little bit at a time. It's important if you're using any kind of cream contour, it's important for you to set it up with a powder contour, but since I'm not using the powder contour, I'm just gonna set it up with the bronzer. So there are contour powders too which you can use, but just I wanted to share, if you guys want, I can recommend more products for the contour. I do also love Lorac powder contour kit. It's very good. I do love that. Now I'm using my Urban Decay blush. This is in shade Video, and the reason I chose this blush is I think this shade is just perfect for any kind of outfit, any kind of look. If you want to do a glam evening daytime makeup for the office, you're going just casually out with your friends, I think this is a perfect shade which gives like a kind of like a glow within. So with my same brush, I'm just gonna take a little bit and I'm gonna just smile and just put it right on my apples of the cheek, starting to here. You see that? So just put the blush here in this area. Gives like a nice flush to the skin. Guys, so let's get started with the eyes. So first I'm gonna be using my P. Louise base. It's very important you use the base if you want the eyeshadow to sit for longer time, just because the bases tend, just because if you have a base on, the eyeshadow is gonna stick to it and it's gonna be staying there for long, and it's not gonna like scatter here and there or any kind of fallout. So make sure you're using any kind of base. My favorite is P. Louise. This is in shade Rumor. This is my absolute favorite just because of the color, and it goes well with all different kind of eyeshadows, because there are different bases, you know, like white or very pale or pink or brown, but this is kind of like in between, which picks up the color, which picks up the pigment. So I think this is really good. It's like this. It's not completely white, but so you want to take this kind of flat brush. This is like a soft brush. You don't want very hard. You can take any kind of flat brush, which is totally fine, which you're comfortable using it. We just need to pack and we don't want to do this. So I'm taking a little bit at a time and I'm just gonna pack it in. Like I'm literally placing it in. And just try not to take it out here, and just under the brow bones. Make sure you set it evenly. I think these kind of soft flat brushes are better. People use a very skinny thin brush also, but I just prefer this because it just with this kind of brush it sets better. Now I'm going to be using my Sigma Enchanted eyeshadow palette. Take any kind of this little bit of fluffy brush. I want to make sure I'm doing lighter and going down to dark, not like dark to light. So I want to take this one because it's going to be a transition shade and you want to cover that any kind of gray or white thing here. So I'm just going to be taking somewhere close to my skin color and just start it right here. So it will give like a color, and so I'm gonna use this. Taking it past in the circular motions, I'm just doing it. Guys, it's very important to have good brushes, because if you're not using the right kind of brushes, you're not gonna get the look what you're looking for, and the eyeshadow is gonna be all over the place. So make sure you invest in some good brushes. See, I'm taking it in circular motions. It's very important to blend. Whatever eyeshadows you're doing, make sure you're blending it well. And the first thing is you need to get a good brush to blend in. Taking the shade Claystone, which is a darker brown, and I just wanted to do it on the outer corner. And the reason why we do dark shadows on the outside to make our eye look more bigger. And make sure you're blending it with another color as well, since we're not doing a lot of color. So that's fine. We want like a, you know, this is a good start if you're a beginner. Make sure you're blending in. Whenever you're doing any kind of shimmer, since this is a shimmer eyeshadow, like try to take this and just, I want to put it right here. And just like I'm starting from here to the center of the lid. I'm not taking it past. If you think the pigment is not great, try using your fingers. It works better with the shimmer kind of shadows. Now I'm taking the shade Plume, and with the same brush, I'm just gonna put it right here. So I'm just putting right here just because I want to give a transition color in between the dark color and the very light color. Just between the brown. Using my L'Oreal Flash Cat Eye Eyeliner. This is pretty good, like I'm very surprised. This is a liquid liner. If you're not comfortable, you can use a pencil liner as well, but I just do prefer to use liquid liner just because it stays put, it doesn't move, it doesn't smudges. So if you want to do a cat eye especially, I would recommend using liquid liners. And I'm gonna just take it right at the angle. Then I'm gonna do I'm not gonna start from here. I'm gonna take and just connect it. Try to work it in strokes, because I know like it can be a little overwhelming at times when you use the liner. So try to work it in strokes a little bit at a time. Like if you see, I've only done like half portion of it and half is still to be done. So I'm gonna like do it in little strokes. Just, if you want to extend it, you can extend it here. I like to extend it outside, it looks really pretty. In the corner, and just connect it. Now I'm taking my Kiko pencil, this is in shade black, and I'm gonna slowly line it and kind of like connect it here. If you connect it, the eyes look bigger. It gives the illusion of big eyes. Feel free to stretch it, guys, because at times, like, you know, our skin is loose and the eyeliner doesn't go very smooth, so you can stretch it here when you're doing it, but make sure not stretching it all the way, because when you just leave it, the eyeliner's gonna be, you know, like not in place. So make sure you're just only stretching a little bit, just enough so that you feel comfortable applying it. So just do this. Okay, now with my Morphe M508 brush, this is a very little tiny precision brush. You can take any kind of pencil brush or a little tiny brush, and I'm just gonna like set it up here, just gonna set the eyeliner, and it looks nice and gives smoky kind of look. My mascara, I'm gonna be using the Pat McGrath. This is a beautiful mascara. I just absolutely love it. I recently got this. It's a nice and volumizing mascara. If you don't plan on using any lashes, I think this is really good, since it gives a lot of volume to the lashes. So stick with this, guys. This is really nice. So mascara is very important. It kind of like opens the eyes and it looks very nice and awake. This is Pixie Mini Lashes from House of Lashes. Make sure it's dried and the glue is tacky, because if it's not and you're just gonna put it, so it's gonna like move around. I'm gonna place it right here. I'm using my St. Luke's lip liners. This is in shade Secret Mirror. So make sure the corners are covered and it gives you like a nice fuller lips. I'm using Hollywood Boulevard shade. This is from Gerard. This has kind of like a pretty shimmer to it, if you see this. Lastly, we're gonna use the Prep and Prime. This is from MAC. So the reason you need a setting spray. This is a good setting spray. This kind of like hydrates, and the reason we use setting spray is so that our makeup stays put and does not move. And trust me, guys, if you use, I can recommend some of the good setting sprays as well. They're from Urban Decay Stay All Nighter. That's pretty good. This is really good. It's hydrating and it keeps your makeup locked in all night. this is the final look, guys. I hope you guys like it and enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave that in the comment box. I'll be more than happy to reply you guys. And if you guys want me to do some tutorials which you think you need help with, or if you want to see me do more looks on the any kind of eyeshadow palettes or anything you want me to review, I'll be more than happy to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.